It's funny that you and I are sitting here right now because you're actually the first person I ever met when I came to the ashram, and you came and picked me up at the ferry, which is interesting. It's like full circle. But I remember how I found this place through friends. But the cool thing was I knew I needed to do something, but the thought of going to sit in like a other retreat didn't appeal to me. I wanted to do something more active and something where I could talk and move my body. And so that was part of the reason why I wanted to come here. And doing karma yoga allows me to move my body and communicate with lots of people and interact and learn all kinds of things and work with different people, which is really neat. And it's also neat too that how you were the first person I met when I came here, and now we're working together to help other people learn about karma yoga, which I think is kind of cool. It's almost like 8 years to the day. Is it that long? Yeah, that's neat. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, that is interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when I first came for karma yoga 8 years ago. I also was in a situation where I needed to move, and I was getting so caught up in what to do next, and what I realized is it wasn't so important what I did as long as I did some action. So when I came here, I learned that karma means action versus my Western idea of karma with the past tense stuff that we tend to focus on. I really embraced the idea of just doing what needs to be done because it needs to be done. And once I learned what it takes to really run a community like this, all the different small roles and big roles and everybody working together, I really enjoyed showing up every day ready to do whatever task was assigned to me. And then through that action, I was able to then make the decisions that I had been struggling to make previously. And I wasn't expecting for dishes or raking or whatever it might be to help me make bigger life decisions, but it was in those small actions that I was able to get a bigger picture on my life and what I wanted to do with it. And then being able to come back and do karma yoga throughout the different seasons to see that the seeds that I planted in the spring, grew in the summer, and then it was time to harvest in the fall, and then seeing how the cycles of the seasons here matched up with the cycles of my own life. So it's been a real gift for me to be able to come here year after year and experience how I've changed and how the ashram's changed, and just engage in such rewarding work that I can then get a benefit from, and everybody gets to take part in.
Yeah, it's cool. I like too what you were saying about like the little jobs. You never know what you could learn in that role or in that job. And the interactions that I've had with different people doing different jobs have been super valuable. I get to learn from people that I never would have normally learned from, or interact with people that are multi-generational and come from all different places. And so everyone comes and has a different skill set and a different life story, which I think is really awesome. And that we get to be surrounded by people who want to do the work and are here to do the work physically within the ashram, but also mentally within themselves. And so for me, my favorite thing about karma yoga is being surrounded by people who also want to change themselves and their own world.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. The intergenerational nature of it is pretty unique. I came for the 2-week program, young adult program. I ended up staying 6 weeks, and I thought that was going to be it. I didn't think that I was going to still be coming here 8 years later, and it quite literally changed my life. What I thought I was going to do before the program ended up being much different after the program. And through the people that I met here, I was able to get some really valuable connections to some next steps. I met people here that I would have never expected to meet based on my pre-existing assumptions about who comes to an ashram and who doesn't, and those have all been totally thrown out the window, because now I know that everybody is welcome at an ashram and could benefit from it in different ways, and it's been really good for me.
Yeah. So my role as karma yoga coordinator is to have people come who have either been here before or are new to come in, and I help them immerse themselves into the community through the work, so through that action. So depending on what time of year they come, it would dictate what we do as far as the work goes. So if it's the summertime or springtime, we'd be outside in the garden or pruning or working on the grounds. If it's winter, we're doing more inside stuff. There's always snow to shovel. But the good thing is there's always something for everyone to do. whether they're old or young or new or have been coming here for a long time or less able-bodied or more able-bodied, there's always stuff to do. And that's the brilliance of this community, is that it is a community. It's like a little mini village, so there's roles for everyone, and there's all kinds of things for us to do to help sustain the community and make it a better place. And like you had mentioned, Devin, that karma yoga, or karma is action, so it's all about doing things to help serve the community or each other or ourselves.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed working the last few months as co-karma yoga coordinator with you, and my main passion is working with people, and so as karma yoga coordinator, we get to have interactions with pretty much every member of the community, whether they're staff or whether they're brand new karma yogis. Everybody's here with that same idea of let's check in about what needs to be done today. And it might be a bit different than what we thought needed to be done yesterday, because in an environment like this, you know, storms happen or the weather changes, and that idea that we're not only doing karma yoga under certain circumstances, but we do karma yoga all day, every day, whether it's indoor work because there's a snowstorm, or whether it's outdoor work, like you said, either shoveling that snow or working in the garden. And you know, right now we have an age range of 2-year-old to 84-year-old, and of course everybody works different hours, but that idea that everybody is here with that idea of, hey, if I'm here, I really want to be doing karma yoga, because people learn pretty quickly, I think, that it's for their own sake and the sake of the community. Whenever there's that balance, I think it's a really rewarding exercise. And I think for people entering into the ashram, karma yoga gives them the perfect opportunity to learn about the ashram while still having enough space to ask questions and enter in. And it's not a course load where you have to remember a lot of information or be tested on anything. You get to really do things in a way that feels natural to you. And then there's that space given throughout the week to reflect on it daily or to ask questions. And so I think karma yoga, whether it's a 1-month program or whether it's a 4-month, you know, internship type thing, gives everybody that opportunity to learn about themselves, even if the job might be different day to day. The theme of self-development is always the same. And I've learned a lot about my own habits by work coordinating, karma yoga coordinating. So through karma yoga coordinating, I've learned my own tendencies as well. So I've seen that some people tend to never take breaks and burn themselves out. Other people might have a harder time, you know, getting motivated, and that varies from person to person and day to day, and also from job to job. So karma yoga creates this great container for us to learn about ourselves and how we want to be in the world.
Yeah, it's super interesting too, because everybody needs to work in the world and here. And so it's an opportunity for us to take what we've learned in karma yoga at the ashram and apply it to our other job or our relationship or our friendship. And yeah, it's like you said, it's a container to learn that in, that's safe and contained and supported. And so it's an opportunity for people to come learn about themselves while they do things, while they're being supported.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think one of the big surprises for people is to learn how practical the karma yoga that we do here is, that it's not just for the sake of doing something, but it always has a purpose. And I've met so many people that have really inspired me that have found a career here through karma yoga. You know, somebody who arrived for the 1-month program and didn't really know what to do, and then through their landscaping work here, for example, decided that they had a real passion for landscaping or course facilitation, whatever it might be. And so, and myself included, what starts off as kind of a casual, maybe a short-term idea, evolves into something that's much more practical and applicable in the outside world than the people perhaps anticipated.
Yeah, it's interesting working with Devin and having 2 people. Sometimes there's a couple more people doing karma yoga coordination as well. And so it's always interesting to come in and transition into the role and then out of the role. And yeah, today is a good example of the need for that transition, and then also how challenging that transition can be. So yeah, coming in the power is out.
Yeah.
And then not knowing if the dishwasher is going to be here or not, and how that's going to play out. And there's all kinds of other things going on, courses and the Easter retreat. And so for me to enter in, it's always kind of like a crapshoot. Like I walk in and I never know what I'm walking into, which for me allows me to work on that sense of unknowing for the longest time I always wanted to know what was happening and couldn't feel secure or safe not knowing. But coming into this place and not knowing, and knowing that this is a safe place, allows me to work with that idea a bit more and to feel safer entering into unknown situations. And it also forces me to not put on a face, but kind of snap out of my funk. If I am coming into a place or coming into work and I'm tired or feeling low or whatever, knowing that I'm here to interact and support other people, it brings me out of that headspace. And so that's one of the things I do like about karma yoga is that when I'm in it, I have time to think about other things, but I can't dwell on the negative. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the most interesting things about karma yoga is that flexibility that's required, both literal of being able to change tasks quickly, but also that internal flexibility to say, okay, well, I might not enjoy this task as another task, and a lot of people enjoy karma yoga right up until they're assigned a karma yoga task that they don't like, so we all use the bathrooms and we all clean the bathrooms, and so if it's somebody loves gardening and they're assigned to the garden the first 3 days, they might love karma yoga, and on the 4th day when they're assigned to clean the bathroom, all of a sudden they don't like karma yoga, but it has nothing to do with karma yoga itself, is the model, and that doesn't change. But that's exactly where we start to learn about ourselves. And so I spent all this time yesterday in the middle of a holiday with guests making the schedule for today that I thought was perfect. And I wake up this morning and the power is out, and all of a sudden half the jobs aren't possible anymore, and we have to move people around, and it's snowing, early April. And so that my flexibility then is required in order to request flexibility from the karma yogis as well, because this morning we had 20 or 30 karma yogis that were here and ready to work, and I can't just say, oh well, I'm not feeling flexible today, and then expect them to be flexible, so that I do all of us working together to make it work. And it ended up working out really well. We found other jobs because it's an ashram, so there's always stuff to do. It's just a matter of being creative about getting into the visual tasks. It's clear when a carpet needs to be vacuumed, but it might not be so clear when the corners of the office need to be dusted. So that's been learned a lot about what it takes to run a community like this. Like you said, a village, and I feel much more prepared to be on a city council or something like that after this job, because there's a lot of discussion that takes place, and not just one person making a decision. It's always a group decision, more or less. And, you remember in January when we had that karma yogi who had lived at a different ashram for a period of time, and some of it he found quite familiar and natural, and other parts he had some real struggles with, because he was comparing it to what he knew. And whether it's an ashram or another job, we all come in with our own experience and our own preconceived ideas about how things should be done or what we're good at. And when we're asked to do something differently than that, it can be hard. At the same time, he also gave us insight that we were open to then, oh yeah, actually that might be a better way to do it. And so I think he was pleased to find that balance between having, at the end of his stay, this was its own thing. It wasn't being compared anymore to his previous experiences. It was allowed to be its own thing, which I think is important.
I know there's been times where the karma yoga coordinator role is almost more like a people management role or a counselor role, especially when working with people who have been here for a long time. And having to really converse and connect and support someone who is feeling challenged about why they're here and what they're doing. And, through that meaningful connection and listening on my end and on their end, having them come out of what could have been a negative experience, and then have them feel more supported in their role and more willing to stay longer term. And that's happened a couple of times where I've been at wit's end with the person, and then something shifted. I've looked more to a compassionate role or an understanding role, and then entered into the relationship or the conversation that way. And then I feel that that's helped them, and they've helped me learn as well about myself and how to be more compassionate. And even people that come here shorter term, I know there's times when people come and they're only here for a week, and the first few days, it's kind of prickly and they don't know what's happening, and then something shifts. And then they leave feeling lighter and more clear about their next steps or their role here, or what happened in different interactions. And I find it's always interesting to sit with people in reflection, or just have conversations with people while we're working, and listen to what they have to say, from the beginning of their time to when they leave. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, definitely. As you know, there's that tendency for people when they first arrive to think that everybody who's here already has it all figured out. And so that's always a good reminder for me when I have karma yogis come in that I'm just meeting, to sometimes I have to remind them that I was also brand new, that I'm still working on my process. Because even for me personally, I can say that the karma yoga program kind of saved my life in some ways, not necessarily literally saved my life, but in the sense of I was really feeling so lost when I started the program. And I figured I'd get a bit of help through my participation. And then I can really point to that period of time and that commitment that I made and that time that I gave to myself as a huge shift that helped me get back on track with my studies and my career. And I could count on, I couldn't even begin to count the number of other young adults that I've met who have had their lives transformed here. I remember meeting one young lady who arrived, and she was about to drop out of her school program when she came. She thought, I decided that nursing wasn't for me, so I came here to decide what I want to do instead. And I'll never forget, at the end of that 4 or 5 week program, she actually decided to stick with nursing. She was able to see that helping people is her passion, and that she was putting too much pressure on herself to do it all. And through the program, she learned that she can only do as much as she can, and that she wants to help change whatever flaws in the profession from the inside, and to do her part. So that's always really inspiring to kind of get chills just thinking about people who, if they hadn't come here, might have had drastically different lives. And I think for the vast majority of people, they find that it's really positive developments that they make when they're here, because nobody's telling them this is what you need to do. They're just given the space to really think about that on their own, and rediscover their own passions, or realize what might need to change.
I think the fact that you and I have been coming here off and on for the last 8 years is a real testament to the program, the Karma Yoga program, and the ashram as a whole. Because why would we keep coming back to something if it didn't provide something we needed? And I totally agree with you. The Karma Yoga program and the young adult program completely changed my life, for the worse for some ways, and ultimately for the better. And it allowed me to see myself in a different role and in a different light when interacting with others and when interacting with work, and interacting in a community as well. And so the program's given me skills and confidence to move forward in my life in a clearer way, and allowed me to see that, supporting others and helping others is definitely my passion, and being part of a community and supporting a community is definitely part of my life that I want to continue working towards.
Yeah, I think that's a good reminder that I wanted to mention. Was I think a lot of people are pleasantly surprised when they find out that just because their stay at the ashram itself might come to an end, that their connection to whatever they might have done here can keep going. So we have a lot of former karma yogis living in a town nearby here that have used their skills from here to find work, or if they go to a bigger city where we have one of our Yasodhara yoga centers, they can stay involved. So I think a lot of people picture it as a very contained 2 to 4 to 6 week program, or whatever it might be, and they're pleasantly surprised to learn that it can be a lifetime thing. Even if they can't come here, we know with the geographic location that it's something that one is always welcome to come both here and engage wherever else they might be.